What do you say we have a conversation about moral injury?
I'm here for it. I think right now that is what we need.
Yes, and I imagine folks watching, listening, seeing this may be like, wait, what is moral injury? Well, we don't hear about that. And the reason being is it's traditionally been used in the combat space, the clinical space. And I really just learned about it as I went through the VA's trauma recovery program. And it was like, oh, that's what I've been struggling with. The shame, the guilt, the darkness, the worry has all been because of moral injury. And so the Dave definition, not the academic, because my brain doesn't remember that kind of stuff verbatim, is essentially that we all have a moral code, a moral compass, right and wrong. And in combat, like in my case, I was put in a situation where I had to do things that weren't exactly in line with my moral code or moral compass. And I also saw things that were outside of that moral code and how that can cause injury to your psyche. And it's a little different than PTSD. At first glance, folks often pair them together, which, surprise, surprise, I had both. Um, PTSD is more fear based, worried about paranoia, threats, whereas moral injury feels more like shame, disgust with yourself. You're not worthy. And that has a little bit different of an impact. But what I've been seeing now that I've learned about moral injury is I'm seeing it being more common than just combat veterans, just law enforcement have fired their weapon on duty. In that if you've witnessed something that is outside of your belief of right and wrong, how that can cause shame, disgust, moral injury. And as I kind of explained it in that Dave terms, where are you seeing moral injury potentially show up in today's world?
So, at least as we're recording this now, last
Mhm.
week there was a lot of graphic footage that hit the internet that for whatever reason was not censored. I think a lot of it's still out there. Now, this is coming from someone that has just like you in a different way though. I've seen a lot of violent things in my life and have the tools to process it. And it's fascinating the reaction that I had to seeing both of the videos. And I was deeply impacted for a few days just processing how horrific and real. And what I noticed though, with maybe those that don't have as many resources or at least an understanding of how to process that information, I think a lot of people, not speaking for everyone, but a lot of people kind of went numb or just didn't know what to do with the information. So they're overwhelmed. They don't know how to process it. Should I have seen that? All these things that come up when you're literally witnessing two people just in the incidents I'm thinking of. Obviously, there were more situations last week, but two people in front of your face as you're scrolling being unalived in front of you. It's not expected. It certainly wasn't for me. I think a lot of what you're saying could align with and be helpful to people that are processing this information, especially coming from me, yeah, seeing a lot of violent stuff, but you are a combat veteran and you know
Mhm.
this is not normal. We're not supposed to see these things.
Yes. And even having seen the darkness that I saw, spending a year in Iraq, running, I think I led like 180 combat patrols, all that rah rah, go army type stuff. Even still, I notice across my feeds, and I don't even consume that much content, the violence, the different shootings, not just the videos from last week. And it still puts me in a funk if I consume too much of it. And that's because, yeah, it is not normal. We're not meant to take in and be exposed to so much violence, and we do need the tools to process it. I mean, part of my struggles were because I didn't process my moral injury, my trauma, and not just the stuff I did, but the stuff I saw. And when you don't process it, it festers, it grows, it compounds, and it works its way into every aspect of your life. And I'll just say it, it sucks. It
Yeah,
sucks. You got
it
to process it.
yeah, it changes you. And
Mhm.
to that end, so we have a lot of resources. Again, I've done lots of trauma healing. I know that you have too in
Mhm.
different ways, but a lot of it has the same outcome. Even last week, for me, I knew how to process it, and that kind of meant
Mhm.
just shutting down. Whereas before, maybe I needed some structure to kind of work through that. I do think instead of just shutting down processing, frankly, for me, it was spent a lot of time in tears. I mean, just feeling it and letting myself feel it and let my heart break for what's going on in the world. For someone that maybe isn't at that point, what are some tips or ideas that you have that could maybe just generally help people that don't know what to do with information process it a little bit better?
You beat me to it. I was going to ask you that.
Well, I cried and curled in a ball and wasn't as productive.
Yeah, yeah.
I do have no
Um,
ideas, but
I want to back up first in that we can jump straight to the tools, but I want to talk about the awareness piece, the building my self awareness to be able to notice when I'm starting to feel or experience a funk. We'll call it a funk, a depression, anxiety, flood, darkness creeping in. I had to build up my awareness first so then I could go to the metaphorical shelf and grab the right tool.
yeah.
So what has helped you build your awareness?
So long term, obviously not everyone needs
Mhm.
to go do this, but it's been healing over the course of years. So I don't want to make this overwhelming. And then last year I went through a very in-depth, short term but effective period of EMDR just to help me process through past traumas
Mhm.
and not becoming numb to them. It's just becoming more neutral because those things impact your life. They impact your decision making, they impact your nervous system. For me, it's like high functioning. I think you've joked before that I would run through a brick wall if I had to get something done. And, a lot of that's gone now. So my processing last week, specifically just with what I was seeing, I let myself, instead of running at something or organizing Asana boards or working on another task or ideating or whatever, it's usually more strategic. I like shift into that strategic mind just so I have control. I think that's a product of the healing I did. I can feel it and I'm not resistant to doing that. I just will notice myself doing it and be like, no, 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 we're going to pause. Sometimes I'm journaling just to get it out of my system. If I can't get to a notebook and paper, I may put something in my notes. I do think writing things down is way more effective. Sometimes it's just talking to someone about it that I trust. And I did that a little bit last week as well, and just kind of vulnerably said, in a way, it even felt silly because I'm like, it's not a direct impact on you. You've been through all these other things. You know, things happen, but I couldn't get past it. So to be able to open up and talk about how it had impacted me. It sounds probably unhealthy, but I would kind of literally, like they say, sit with it. And I'm
Mhm.
sitting with it, maybe staring at the wall and just thinking a little bit, not letting my mind spiral, but letting myself think and then also release the emotion. Crying releases cortisol, there's a chemical effect to that too of being able to let go. I think it'll look different for everyone, especially if you're new to this or maybe haven't seen anything like that or had experiences like that. But I think being more than anything, being able to pause and just to even hear someone say, and I hope that we're this for the people listening, that it's not normal and it's okay to just pause and feel through it and process it and then seek resources or community to help you work through that.
Yes, and I think it's good that you mentioned, it depends on who you are and what works for you. But at the core of it, whatever the tactic, the tip, the trick, you've got to slow down, pause long enough to check in with yourself.
Mhm,
Whether that be a 30-minute meditation, which might be a bit much, especially for somebody that's never meditated before,
mhm.
but even if it's a 2-minute pulse check, a lot of us have fitness devices, wearables that give us a stress monitor.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got it and I'll look at it. Do I do anything with that information when I look at it? Oh, I'm kind of high stress right now. Do y'all look at it and you're like, oh, yep, yeah, no kidding, I'm stressed.
Yeah.
Or do you see that and you say, okay, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling stressed? Why is my baseline stress up? Pause just long enough to ask yourself one question.
Yep.
Can be a simple baby first step. I I also have a commute home. I work in my home office. It's in my basement, so I don't actually have a commute, but I have my wind down, my transition time for me to check in with myself and shift minds, shift into dad mode instead of work mode. And so whatever technique, time works best for you all watching, check in with yourself. And This is a non-therapist, but it's okay to have a conversation with yourself. I do it all the time. I do it all
Yeah.
the time. Oh,
Yeah.
what am I feeling? Let's unpack that, Dave. It's okay. And then when you say sit with it, like that's what I do when I sit with it, is I just try to look at it from as many different perspectives as I can.
Exactly. And you're still, and again, sometimes you have to get it out on paper or whatever to like get
Mm-hmm.
it out of your head, especially if you're
Mm-hmm.
still learning and working that
Mm-hmm.
muscle, be able to process it. But obviously, there's technique to this too. But you're forming by doing that in the correct way in certain environments. You're building new neural pathways as well. So, like, there is the impact, the physical impact of that too.
Mm-hmm.
And when you mentioned the checking in with your stress, I want to be mindful of saying this because, again, we don't want to run through brick walls. I will say, though, for me now in the place I'm at, and I would think for a lot of people too, this could be effective, finding ways to movement, to get
Mm-hmm.
movement in. It literally does move that energy just to get you thinking clearly, it moves the energy physically.
Mm-hmm.
Breath work too is huge. I do Wim Hof breath work. I know that's not for everyone. For me, I've done it for at least 6 years and like kind of trained on it more, and it's been really effective. But any kind of breath work you found that works for you too. It's not going to fix everything, right? Like you'll still have to process it, but I think it gives you the tools to not just shove it down or avoid it or let it overtake you either, so that you can get to the place of, okay, now let me process, because my brain's not, our brains in many ways are archaic, right? They're still running from from bears and lions and dinosaurs, whatever. And it's getting out of that place, out of that survival state, go, 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 and into
Mm-hmm.
clarity as much
Have I
as you
told
can.
you how I use the mala beads?
Yes, but share.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just wear it on my wrist. And when I need just a quick little reset, I'll take it off and I'll hold one of the little beads. And every breath, I move to the next one, the next one, every breath. It just helps me focus my mind and focus my breath in a very tactile way. And I can do it sit on an airplane in the backseat of an Uber. It's not a big meditation. It's just a little tool to check in with myself, to pause, and to remind myself to breathe. Simple,
Yes.
like $12 off of Amazon. So building awareness, so great. I'm journaling. I'm sitting with it. I'm doing my breathing. Okay, I'm feeling this heightened stress because of all the stuff, the ick that I've seen lately. So my awareness is up. I have identified it. The power of processing. What are some tools that have worked for you? Like even just like last week, what helped you process?
I'm a high energy person. My mind goes a million miles a minute. I'm physically energetic. I'm someone that has to go move that. But I do think for most people, and there's science on this, doing that, even if it's not, running like a mad woman like I do, sometimes it can be yoga or stretching or things that feel like they're attainable in that moment. But it's just getting yourself, even if you set a timer for 5 to 10 minutes, to just get a little bit of movement in, putting yourself in a state to kind of shift out of the panic or the over processing to get you to actually be able to process the information. That's been largely effective to me, for me. I mean, I also, again, I'm not sure how much science there is to this piece. For me personally, though, I do have faith. And so I like to, in whatever you're connecting to in whatever way, whether it's meditating or prayer to whatever means something to you, for me, it's God. I spend time in prayer and asking for wisdom and guidance and calling that in so that I can, again, shift to that place to be able to process it, but then also make it useful for myself and then hopefully for others. I do think seeking community, not just, oh, woe is me, like I'm stressed out and you're calling everybody all the time and, not like that, but in a way, calling community. I really want to talk through this, get your thoughts. Highly, highly unusual for me to do that. But that's where I defaulted last week after I'd kind of done my own processing, was having conversation, and even avoiding environments where I felt like I might be worked up a little bit. So I had to cancel some plans to make room for some of those conversations. And I think that's huge too, because we can't just do that on our own. None of the healing work I've ever done was on my own. So, um, find people that you can talk about that aren't just feeding extreme narratives or all that's wrong with the world, that have a bit more of a solution-oriented approach.
Yes, absolutely. And for me, once I have that awareness up, then it's kind of okay. First, this is the army. It's first you got to stop the bleeding.
Yeah.
So if it's this onslaught of violence or trauma, death on social media, well, then stop consuming it.
Yep.
And what do I want to consume? We have the power to choose. Do we want to flood our minds with the heavy stuff, the ick, or do we want to listen to praise music or happy, joyful Spotify playlist, little things like that? Do I want to, and actually the joy journal, we haven't talked about that yet, but that was one of the big things for me, that if I want to experience and feel more joy in my life, whether it be because I've been going through the ick or just because I want more joy, well, if that's what you want more of, look for it. When you're looking for the positive, you're going to find it. But if you're not looking for the positive, you're looking for the negative, and you're thinking, why am I not feeling joy or the positive? It's because you're not looking for it.
Right.
Open your eyes to it and look for it. And so, yeah, the joy journal is one way, one of the tools that I turn to help. What I want to flood my life with. Who do I want to surround myself with? Because those are kind of like starting points. First, stop the bleeding. And then what will set me in the path? What do I need right then and there in that moment? And actually, another lesson that I've learned comes to working out. I work out in the morning, and I used to have this go, 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 go every single day. Discipline equals freedom. But I've learned to listen to my body through building my presence and my awareness. Some days I'll ask myself, what do I need right now this morning as I'm sitting out in the living room couch at 5:15 in the morning, checking in with myself, sitting with it? Is it a 30-minute ride on the Peloton? Is it doing deadlifts or squats? Is it sitting here reading a devotional? Is it just sitting here on the couch with Basil and then doing it? Not falling susceptible to the should, the I should do this, I gotta do this.
Yeah.
What do I need? What do I actually need right now? There's a
100%.
ramble.
I think that's important. Obviously, a lot of this, we're all going to be reactive to it because it's unexpected. I do think with what you're saying too, note a lot of this you're doing in the morning before your day even begins. This is
Mm-hmm.
coming from someone that started their day at 4 a.m., ran out of bed, and did nothing self care. So I want to be honest in that I did not do that. But on most days and in normal situations where I don't have to be everywhere and back in a day, I proactively go to the gym or process what I need. I'm not quite at that point where I can truly do that. So I kind of, right now, it's like go to the gym, go eat, make sure you're nourishing yourself, take your vitamins, that sort of thing, having that proactively. Also doing breath work proactively before you need it, because that's something that you build over time. You're calming your nervous system over time. It can help you, of course, in the moment, and it does. There's endless science to that. But I've noticed when I'm consistent with those habits and routines and things that feel like, I'm okay, I don't really need to go do that, doing it proactively anyway, knowing that it's going to put me in a better place to make decisions and process information and still be able to show up where I can.
Self-care is prevention, not just treatment. I feel like we generally look to it as treatment or an intervention, but what you're just articulating and makes the point perfectly is that self-care is absolutely prevention. When it comes to responding, more tools, some of the other things I do, I've actually incorporated it into my pre-game and post-game ritual. So when I'm getting ready to take the stage, anxiety is high. Last week I was just in Michigan speaking to 1,200 people, and I'm an introvert. I like one-on-one quality conversations. And so that drains my people battery. And I was actually sharing about my PTSD, my trauma, my moral injury in front of this crowd of strangers. And so, yeah, I get a little nervous. And so what my coach, shout out Jen Schneeman, my nervous system coach, I have a pregame ritual for my nervous system. And it really comes back to safety, predictability, and control. And so it's, you find your feet, you find your supports. Am I sitting down? Am I standing up? Noticing that I'm supported, noticing that I have my feet, I can move. It's a little shifting back and forth, noticing my breath, taking the full, complete breath, looking around at my surroundings, knowing I'm here, I am present, and that helps. And then afterwards, little shake it off, move it out, some good deep, slow breaths, hydration, and just a little walk. And at conferences, I'll go for a walkabout. Like, all right, I got to take a lap. Just
Yeah.
walk.
It's amazing what a walk can do. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, folks, if you're in the ick right now because of your social media feeds flooded, stop the bleeding. Get connected with community and get moving.
Yeah. And social media is, I bring this up because we've all been susceptible to it at one point or the other. It is truly addictive. And it's going to take maybe a little more effort up front for you to get in the habit of, I've got blockers all over my phone all day. DND, do not disturb, blockers from social, all of those things. Even though we have to touch it with what we do, I can still find ways around that and block quite a bit. So it's hard to pull yourself out of it, but just say no. Catch yourself doing it as soon as you can. Don't shame yourself. Don't make it a big thing. I'm lazy. I'm scrolling. I woke up and started doing this. Stop. Have your own ritual or start working on it and building it. Everyone's different. It takes time to build that. Like you said, community, all those other things too. But
yeah. You can even get an accountability partner.
Yes.
Get an accountability partner too.
Yeah.
That way you don't have to do it alone.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But to hopefully eloquently, maybe not so eloquently because, I've been blown up and my brain doesn't always work right. But the general theme of our conversation today is being exposed to seeing all of this ick, this violence, this not good stuff is not normal. The human psyche, the human heart wasn't designed to consume that kind of content 24/7. That's stuff that as a combat veteran, I've had to deal with seeing that firsthand, being actively involved. It's not normal. So build your awareness, stop the bleeding. So disconnect, be mindful about what you do feed your mind and what you do feed your soul. Get moving, get connected, and talk to somebody about it. How's that for a summary?
I think it's perfect. I want to put it first. then we can go back and chat through the details because I think it's a great.
Yeah. What other parting words of wisdom do you have?
Oh my gosh! Now my brains.
TBI also, right?
Desk, bad blood flow right now. Stress. No. I mean, you put it way more eloquently than I will. I think understanding first and foremost, just listen to two people that have seen and experienced things that aren't normal and had to process them, et cetera. And we're sitting here saying, this is not normal. It's not okay. There's no need to normalize it. It's okay to feel through it. It's okay to seek resources. It's okay to shut out the noise of just get over it because it can drastically impact you far more than you think. And we're also both products of that. Eventually you heal and we chose healing. But the more that, and hopefully there's no more of this in the first place, but the more that this is normalized, the more traumatized, shameful, addictive, so many other things our society will become as a result. So please know it's not normal to see those things. And it will take processing for everyone, no matter your experiences or who you are.
Absolutely. And y'all know that I'm always only one message away. I'll just be slow to respond because my phone will probably be in do not disturb mode, but I'll be there eventually.
Amen.